Welcome to yet another mukbang. Let me show you what I'm eating. So we're having pork belly, and then on my left this is avocado with a bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, and cauliflower and broccoli in a creamy sauce made of butter, cream cheese and double cream. Usually I wouldn't have the avocado with this, but it was in the fridge and it needed eating. You know what avocados are like. So I'm having this on the side. And this is probably too much food, but I'll be putting the leftovers into a scrambled egg or an omelette. Okay, so let's try this. Oh, I'm hungry. So pork belly, in my opinion, is one of the best keto meats you can have because it's really fatty. And if you're not familiar with it, the way it looks raw, you have a layer of meat and then a layer of fat and a layer of meat. So it's kind of stripy, so you get a lot of fat. I just find it a little bit difficult to cook. Let me just show you what it looks like. Because when it's not, so the meat cooks quicker than the fat, I think. So if you don't cook it enough, the white parts, they might still be a little bit raw, and not everybody likes chewing raw fat. But then if you cook it too much, the whole thing gets like really dry and crispy. So I'm trying to find like a middle way where the fat is fairly crunchy, but the meat isn't cremated yet. Let's see how the avocado goes with the meat. Another thing I do is I put the meat into the air fryer. Just one piece is enough. It fell apart into two pieces. And then when it's done, quite a lot of fat comes out, and I pour the leftover fat into my cauliflower and broccoli. So yes, so that's why the topic of today's video came about. How much fat should you have on a keto diet? And even though weight loss isn't something I'm very concerned with, it's still something I'm going to discuss because I had some accidental experience with it. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because it seemed like there's a lot of confusion online about how much fat you should have on the keto diet. So the standard rule is 70 to 80% of your diet should be fat. Personally, I don't feel confused at all because I don't weigh or measure anything. I eat very intuitively and I'm not afraid to add a lot of fat to my food, and it hasn't harmed me, it has only benefited me. I have lost 7 kilos in 4 months, and that was more or less an accident, even though I'd say it was a happy accident. So I quickly need to talk about my own weight before then I go a little bit more general. When you start eating keto, this feels really weird, but then I'd say give it 2 months, 3 months, and it just feels so right and so nourishing. Anyway, so I put on a little bit of weight, and usually when that happens, I just go to the gym a little bit more and I watch what I'm eating a little bit more, and in 2 to 3 months that weight just goes. And I never really put on loads of weight. I was never really overweight. But that sort of weight where you can feel it, but people on the outside don't necessarily notice. So that happened to me, and I did my usual, but the weight didn't shift. And then I thought, maybe this could be perimenopausal weight that I'm starting to put on, and that's why it's not going. Because I've heard that that sort of weight gain is very persistent and you can't just lose it. It's just your body going through changes. And for the first time in my life, I bought some scales. And I bought some fancy ones, that work with an app, and you just need to stand on it, on the scale. You press a button on the app, and it doesn't just measure your weight, it measures your fat, your percentage, your muscles, your BMI, all that stuff. And I actually think it works pretty well. And that's how I know how much that I exactly lost 7 kilos in 4 months. But what happened was that the weight gain and the scale was completely independent from me deciding to start keto. So first I was just worried about this potential perimenopausal weight, bought the scale, and then a month later I decided I need to do keto again because of my migraines. So then that's how I lost all the weight without much effort. That was just purely the keto diet. I would say it was 90% keto diet. At the moment, I'm not going to the gym. I would like to go once a week, but I'm still having a couple of migraines. So I decided to be gentle to myself and not force myself to do any strenuous exercise. And I'm eating tons of fat and I've been losing weight. A lot of people on the internet seem to have the impression that when you are a little bit overweight or you're doing the keto diet for weight loss, you should eat less fat. And if you are very slim, you should eat more fat, with the idea that eating more fat, you lose less, and eating less fat, you will lose more. But I've proven the point that this is completely not true, at least in my situation. I don't want to start any arguments. And I also need to say I have no medical background. Whatever I'm saying in all my videos is purely from my own experience. I think there's also still a lot of fear of fat on the internet, even though with the keto diet, I think it's been proven that it's a therapy, it's therapeutic food. So I wonder, why do you do the keto diet if you want to lose fat, which I think is fair enough, but why then do you say, I need less fat? Because you're not doing the keto diet, call it a low carb diet. I mean, I don't want to argue with anyone online, but that's what I always think when I read these things. It's great. I'm happy for anyone who benefits from the keto diet, but I'm just thinking you are taking the original purpose away a little bit. 70 to 80% fat is the rule for keto always. There's no, obviously over the years people have made up their own rules. That's where this idea comes from. And I'm eating copious amount of fats. Let me just quickly summarize. I drink 2 keto teas a day, and I know some people hate it. I love it because it means I only need 2 meals a day and it's super convenient. I put butter, double cream, and coconut oil into my keto teas. So I'm not conservative with the fat I'm adding. Also a tiny bit of full fat cow's milk because I can't do without it, but it doesn't kick me out of ketosis anyway. And then 2 meals a day. And every time I eat, I add a very healthy amount of fat to my meals. So I eat more than enough fat. And I love the appetite suppressing benefits of the fat. And I think, and only for me personally, it's only because of convenience. I don't enjoy standing in the kitchen, but some people do. Some people love trying new recipes. Let's see. That's another point. Fat suppresses your appetite. Why would you have less fat if you want to lose weight? But anyway, the point I wanted to make in this video is that I think what the keto diet does is that it, in the long run, it just regulates the way your body should be if nature had made you perfect, or if nature wouldn't mess with you. Like, for example, in my case, or a lot of women, perimenopause or menopause, eating disorders, binge eating, all these things. I'm talking about weight now, not the illnesses. So if I was doing this diet for weight loss, which I'm not, but the weight loss is a welcoming side effect, I lost 7 kilos in 4 months. If the internet's theory was right, then in another 4 months, I would maybe lose another 7 kilos, or the weight loss would slow down. I will maybe lose another 2 or 3 kilos. And then in another 4 months, am I going to lose another 2 or 3 kilos? And then in another 4 months, I'll be skin and bones? No. And this is exactly where people go wrong with controlling how much fat they have and with worrying, am I having too much or too little fat? You need 70 to 80% on the keto diet, whether you do it for health or weight loss, and that's it. I've done the keto diet before for 2 years, from 2014 to 2015. And I wasn't overweight when I started, but I was also much fitter. Like, I went to the gym a lot. I was a little bit muscular, not muscular, like bodybuilding muscular, but I think everything just came a little bit easier. The fitness, I was naturally a little bit slimmer, all that. And because I did it for 2 years, I didn't get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. I maybe lost a little bit of weight at the beginning. I don't remember. And then my body regulated itself. And I still kept adding copious amounts of fat, the same I'm doing now. Sorry, I'm just going to eat a little bit because it's going cold. But yeah, this is really what I wanted to say in this video. Don't fear fat. If you are a little bit overweight, then you will lose weight, but you'll also not lose weight forever. Your body will regulate itself. If you are skinny, I never had this problem of being too skinny, but if you are very, very slim and you are worrying that you're losing too much weight on the keto diet, I can tell you, I've done it for 2 years in the past. I'm sure there are people who've done it for longer than that, and they don't end up skin and bones. You don't lose weight forever, especially if you're doing it as a therapy, which is the core of my whole channel, the core topic of my whole channel. Don't be afraid to add fat, and the weight will regulate itself, and your body and your hormones and everything. Okay, so I've eaten, or I'll show you what I have left. 1 second. This is what I have left. And this will probably go into an omelette. I'll scramble that later today. Because I'm full. This is the way I see this meal. The meat is there to fill me up and give me nutrients. The avocado and the vegetables, I think the avocado has more nutrients than the vegetables, especially because they were frozen and I need to cook them for 20 minutes so they're soft, because otherwise I feel like I'm a little bit intolerant to raw vegetables and fruit. So I'm not sure whether the vegetables have any nutritional value. For me, it's just a sponge to soak up the fat. The fat is what really fills me and makes me feel like I don't need to eat for the next few hours. And the fat is also a reason why I don't need masses of meat. It's not like the carnivore diet. Even if I have a meal that is just meat, which I sometimes do, I add a little bit of fat, but then I don't need loads and loads of meat. I have now on the keto diet, I have the same amount of meat that I'd have before. It's just that I swap the carbs for fat, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying. Last thing I want to say is there seem to be a lot of debates, opinions about what type of fats you should have. And I think it's a cycle of different fashions that come and go. When I did this 10 years ago, for me it was obvious. Butter and animal-based saturated fats, double cream and cream cheese are my main go-to ingredients when I make a sauce. Or sometimes I just pour a little bit of butter over my meat. Nothing too complicated or too fancy. Now, olive oil seems to be very popular. The only time really I use olive oil is like now I drizzle it over my avocado. But I find the flavor a little bit overpowering sometimes. And also I wonder, how can a seed oil be better than saturated fat? Only my opinion. MCT oil is great, but I find it completely unnecessary. That's why I switched to just coconut oil in my keto teas. But I don't fry with it or anything, because then again, I find it weird when the food tastes of coconut. But this is just my own opinion. I don't want to provoke anyone with my ideas or my way of eating. If you find different fats better for you, do that. I don't know whether it makes a difference. For me, it's just intuition. But I think butter is better than olive oil, but better than margarine, obviously, better than sunflower oil, obviously. But at this point, I just say it's just my opinion. The important thing is that 70 to 80% of what you're eating should be fats. And if you feel something is a little bit off with your keto diet, don't worry about not losing weight or not being cured or feeling better straight away. Worry about intuitively eating, and if after your meal you don't feel satisfied, is there too much meat on your plate? Is there too little fat on your plate? Try adding a little bit of fat. Do it slowly, because at the beginning it can also make you feel a little bit sickly. That happened to me. Now I'm fine. Add a little bit more fat to your meals and see if it makes a difference with the way you feel, your weight. I'm saying your weight will drop automatically when you're doing the keto diet correctly. And this is probably the only ever video I'm doing about weight, because it's not really what I know much about weight loss. I know about migraines. But I thought I'd want to talk about fat, and a lot of people fear fat, especially in relation to weight loss, okay? But anyway, next time maybe I'll talk about migraines again. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again.